When systemic failures lead to unimaginable tragedy, the public's immediate demand is for answers. But the usual mechanisms for justice often fall short. Criminal courts are designed to assign individual guilt, not to untangle decades of institutional rot. And when government departments investigate themselves, the public rarely trusts the results. When trust completely collapses, the UK turns to a very specific mechanism, the judicial public inquiry. These are independent investigations, usually led by a senior judge or lawyer, designed specifically to step into the void left by total institutional failure. Every inquiry operates on a three-part legal mandate. Their job is to definitively establish what happened, explain exactly why it happened, and recommend how to prevent it from ever happening again. While this framework creates a powerful historical record and offers a public platform for victims, its structure possesses a limitation that many families only discover after years of agonizing testimony. To understand that limitation, we first have to look at how an inquiry builds its case. The investigative weight of a modern inquiry comes directly from the Inquiries Act 2005. When a minister establishes a statutory inquiry under this act, the presiding judge is granted aggressive legal teeth. They hold the power to legally compel witnesses to appear, force them to surrender internal documents, and give evidence under oath. Ministers can also opt for non-statutory inquiries, which operate outside of this act. These move much faster and cost less, but they rely entirely on voluntary cooperation because they lack the legal power to force anyone to the stand. By using statutory powers, an inquiry can bypass official public relations and extract raw internal data. This creates an undeniable, permanent record of events that corrects early government or corporate misinformation. Establishing an accurate timeline is a necessary baseline, but for the families of victims, simply knowing the sequence of events leaves the core question unanswered. They demand to know the reasoning behind the decisions that cost their loved ones their lives. Uncovering the why means hauling decision-makers into inquest rooms, much like this one from the 7/7 London bombings hearings, to face relentless public questioning by expert legal counsel. Because inquiries examine years or even decades of policy, this phase is notoriously slow. Hearings can drag on for months, and the associated legal fees quickly spiral into millions of pounds of taxpayer money. The investigation into the events of Bloody Sunday, where British soldiers shot unarmed civilians in Northern Ireland, took 12 years to complete and cost over £200 million. These massive timeframes produce an almost incomprehensible volume of evidence. Final reports frequently span thousands of pages across multiple volumes, detailing every procedural failure. Despite the immense financial burden, this exhaustive process offers something standard courts rarely do: public validation. Having a senior judge officially confirm systemic failure provides a deep historical acknowledgement of suffering. Yet, as these multi-year investigations finally draw to a close and the truth is laid bare, a harsh reality sets in. Exposing institutional rot is entirely separate from forcing institutions to fix it. The culmination of an inquiry is the publication of its final report. This document details exactly how regulatory systems failed and provides specific recommendations to overhaul them. But the judge's gavel carries no physical force. Inquiries cannot prosecute individuals, they cannot award financial compensation, and legally, their recommendations are entirely non-binding. The entire process operates under executive control. Government ministers dictate the initial terms of reference, receive the final report, and retain complete authority over which recommendations become law. If the political will evaporates after the media spotlight moves on, vital safety overhauls can be watered down, delayed indefinitely, or simply ignored. These investigations remain one of the UK's most effective tools for piercing through state secrecy and exposing institutional failure. But as long as their findings rely on political goodwill for implementation, the promise of true accountability remains unfulfilled.